I'm going to compare your swing to Grant Waite, who was a tour player during the 90s. He and teaching partner Joe Mayo are now instructors of several PGA Tour players. Grant was considered by many of having one of the best swings in golf. I'm going to begin at impact, which is the most important position. Everything the golf ball does, how far it goes, how high it goes, how much it spins and curves, is a direct response to the laws of physics and motion that exist at the moment of impact. The physics and geometry at impact is a response to the club's position at impact. The club's position is a direct response to the body's position at impact. And it's important to understand that impact occurs in only 4 microseconds, which is 1,000 times faster than a blink of an eye. And it is impossible for any human to consciously influence ball flight during this fraction of a second. Therefore, every position prior to impact must be shaped and sequenced in such a way to consistently arrive at a fundamentally sound impact position. The purpose of any swing is to hit the golf ball with the desired ball flight. This can only be done by hitting the ground in the same place, and that place is in front of the golf ball. To achieve this, Grant and all the pros have their hands in front of the golf ball when they make contact. By having their hands in front of the ball, they create a shaft lean. That allows them to hit down into the golf ball and hitting the ball before they hit the ground. This maximizes the transfer of the club speed to the ball so that it maximizes the amount of ball speed coming off the face of the club. The pros also have the majority of their weight on their left side at the moment of impact. As you can see, the red line coming off of Grant's left foot passes right through his belt buckle.
Well, before I begin analyzing your swing, I think it's important that I point out that the purpose of swing analysis is to see if there are changes you can make in your swing that will help you have more consistent ball flight that will impact your score. If a player was hitting 70% greens with their irons, that's an excellent number. And I don't care what I would see in a golf swing in terms of what appears to be a fundamental flaw. The value of changing that swing becomes much smaller if the current results are very good. So as I go through your swing positions and comment on some of the things that are against the normal fundamental positions, we have to be careful not to become too hyper attentive to these differences and work too hard at making changes when the results right now are pretty good. You had indicated that you hit a lot of greens from the fairway with your 7, 8, 9 irons and up. These changes may improve your ball striking for your middle and long irons, but you are accomplishing good success with the shorter irons. As we look at your impact position compared to Grant Waite, and it's important to point out that Grant is in a position similar to all the PGA players, that they will have a huge majority, 85 to 90% of their weight on their left side at impact. And when we look at the blue box coming off the ankles, you can see how the blue line coming up off of Grant's left foot, it's passing right through his belt buckle. And so he definitely has the majority of his weight on his left side, and you have more weight on your right side than you do your left side. This is a contributing factor to hitting both fat and thin shots, and you had indicated with the irons you tend to hit it more thin. Not only do you have your weight back, you have your handle or hands further back than Grant does. Grant has his hands in front of the ball at impact, which creates this shaft lean, and this allows Grant to hit down into the golf ball, hit the ball before he hits the ground. and it makes it much more difficult for him to hit it fat. His low point of his swing is in front of the golf ball. And when you are in this position, you'll come in more level to the ball, and you have to be really precise in order to hit it consistently solid. If you're just a fraction below that point, you'll hit behind the ground. If you're a fraction above that point, you'll hit it thin. Now, as I said in the introductory video clip, the only reason to change your swing is to change the golf ball's performance during impact. And that the laws of physics and motion that exist at impact is what causes the ball flight. And the only way to change your ball flight is to change the club's position at impact. And so anything that we would change in your golf swing would have the sole purpose of changing your body's position at impact. Here you are in the almost the 8th position, and that would be when the right arm is parallel to the ground. When we look at your swing from the waist up, it doesn't look much different than Grant. That you are your upper body has done a very good job of mastering the correct movements. You have both arms extended. You have your elbows close together. Your triceps are on top of your chest, hands in front of your chest. You're hitting through with extended arms, and that's very good. The difference is in the lower body, and that Grant is turning his hip into the ball. His belt buckle is facing more to the target than yours. He's off his back foot. He has moved his front pocket. His right front pocket is now right about here. It's almost on top of his foot. Your right pocket is still way back here. So any changes that you would make would be the lower body, and getting your lower body to participate more in the golf swing. In order to move your swing in the direction that you are become a better ball striker, we would have to make some adjustments in your lower body's activity. The fact that you're achieving some of the good scores that you've had without this more sophisticated move with the lower body is very good. It indicates that you still have a lot of untapped potential in your swing, and that your ultimate goal isn't to shoot consistently in the 70s or break 80 more often. It's possible that your potential is the low 70s, and that shooting in the 70s is the norm if you establish some of these more sophisticated moves. I think you can get away with this lower body inactivity with the shorter irons, but it will impact your long irons and your middle irons in fairway woods. So it's not going to be that difficult to make the change, but it needs to be done in small steps. What I want to do now, we're going to look at the swings prior to impact and to see what moves you're making prior to impact that is hindering your ability to get into a good impact position. Here we are at the beginning of the swing, the setup, the one position. You have a nice extension in both arms. You have your hands in front of the golf ball. You have a shaft lean. Grant has achieved that same thing, but with his ball position is a little bit further up. I think Grant is hitting a 5 or a 6 iron. I think you were hitting an 8 iron. One of the things that help you have a little bit of a downward attack, enough of a downward attack, is even though you do have your weight on your back foot at impact, because you do play the ball back, that kind of fits the geometry you created. And so that does make it a little bit easier to minimize the fat and thin shots when you have this ball position this far back. I will say that as a general rule, that ball position can be effective for the short irons, but becomes less effective for the middle and long irons. I'm guessing that you have a more forward position with the middle and long irons, and that then will reveal the weakness of your body's position and hand position on those clubs. Your body's position becomes less punitive when you have a ball position back here with the short iron. As we look at the weight distribution during the setup, Grant actually has about 55% of his weight on his left side. And so Grant is kind of in a mini impact position to begin with. He knows he has to have the majority of his weight on his left side at impact. And so he doesn't want to do anything prior to impact that makes doing that job difficult. So he begins with a little bit more weight on his left side. He's kind of in a little mini impact position at the beginning of the swing. You set up with a little bit more weight on your back leg. And a lot of that is coming from the fact that you have your tilt of your spine is a little too far back. Grant is a little more vertical here. So one of the changes that I would like for you to begin experimenting with is in your setup position. Try to feel more 50-50, more evenly balanced in both feet. And I think that'll help you start sensing the feeling of the importance of having pressure on that left side at the beginning of the swing, because you're going to want to key on that in your backswing. You need to have a single axis golf swing. You want to establish your low point of your golf circle to be in front of the golf ball. You want to then lock down that circle and don't let it move and wobble while you're moving the club around the circle. So you're going to develop a really good swing around the circle, but you're going to do that without moving the circle. And that's the key. I'm now going to go to the 3 position. This is when the left arm is parallel to the ground on the backswing. I'm going to move Grant first. That's the 3 position. Now as Grant makes that move, watch how his left knee, left hip, left shoulder, his head position, everything is staying on top of that left side. That's his single axis right there. He's making a good turn, good shoulder turn, good hip turn, but he's rotating around that left axis. If we were to draw a circle right there, so you have moved even further to the right. You've added a complexity to your golf swing that's going to make you somewhat inconsistent at achieving the correct geometry at impact. If you need to have the low point of your golf circle in front of the golf ball at the moment of impact, you have made that more difficult, because there's no question the low point of your golf circle right now is behind the golf ball and not in front of the golf ball. The low point of Grant's golf circle is in front of the golf ball, and he keeps it there. When you look at Grant, it's almost as if he is a field goal kicker, and he's planting that left leg, flexing that left knee, and getting ready to kick a football. So he's going to get his power out of his legs. He's going to plant that left leg as he's turning, and then he's going to, as he unturns into the golf ball, he'll start extending that leg and use his leg power along with his upper body power. I recommend that all of the work that you do in order to add this sophistication to your golf fundamentals, this is the piece we need to work on. We don't need to be working on 5 different things. We cannot have a good 4 position, that's the top of the backswing, until we have a good 3 position. And we cannot have a good 3 position unless we have a good 1 position.